Hello, everybody, and welcome to we've done this once before, and by we I mean me, but this is another mobile episode of the Nobody Asked This podcast. Now, I don't know how this is going to end up. I remember last time it was a decent experience, so we're going to try it again. Now, I have looked into the legality of this. It is legal. There is not a visual element. Also, if it sounds like I'm in a screechy parking lot, it's because I'm in a screechy parking lot. It's one of those floors where it's like... Is it still called the floor if it's the ground? It's one of those grounds where it's like, okay, are my tires about to explode? Or is it my brakes? And then it's like, oh no, it's just the floor that's polished. Okay, something has happened and I'm trying to get out of a parkade. And the door is not opening. So that is cool. I don't know how to fix that. Okay, we fixed it. No, we didn't. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, what is happening? This is not a joke. This is not... it's legitimately not letting me out of... the parking. Oh, here we go. I was thinking maybe my car is too slim. No, we're out. Okay. Anyway, I hope everyone has had a good week. I remember I was talking either at the end of last episode or the episode before saying how I was really going to make a point to check in on how all of your weeks were, because I normally say, oh, I'm seeing Christmas trees. It's happening. We'll get to that later. But I was really going to make a point to check back in and make this more of a dialogue. Because listen, I can't be pulling all the strings here. I'm the one making all the $0, but still, I would like this to be a conversation. So I'm going to give you your turn. So, how was your week? Let me make sure this is recorded, because I feel like the only thing more embarrassing than recording an episode of a podcast from your car is thinking you're recording an episode of a podcast from your car. Now, I have done that before. Really, the impetus for the Nobody Asked for This podcast, if impetus is in fact a word, the impetus of this is I talk to myself a lot. I would find myself at work quite frequently, and this was during masked times, so it was a bit more concealed, but I would just be talking, and then I realized who are we talking to? And I don't really have an answer for that. But then I answered my own question, and I said, I am talking to the listeners of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. So if you need an impetus, that would be it. Okay, we're on the open road. You will be hearing, again, signals and really just sounds of safe driving. I like to consider myself, I fancy myself a safe driver. Not to brag. 10 and 2 always. So, I hope you hear lots of safe driving sounds. Knock on wood. Regardless, now is your opportunity to speak. You have the talking stick. How was your week? Now, I'm not going to do the thing that I sometimes see people on YouTube Shorts do where they respond and they're like, yeah. I'm not going to do that. I think that's a step too far for me. Again, whatever works for anyone. For me, step too far. But all good. I'm just here to talk about what's on my mind. And what's on my mind today is hummus. I did something the other day, which I had done before, but it really just revolutionized my future lunches, at least for the next week. I had a bagel, and I had a cream cheese option. And listen, cream cheese is great. Do I know what cream cheese is? Not really. Does anybody? That is a serious question. Does anybody know what cream cheese is? I don't. And the thing with dairy products is isn't this all the same thing? Cream cheese is butter, is whipped cream, is heavy cream. And I know it's not, but at its essence, is it not all the same thing? I would almost throw in mayo as well, but I know mayo has some weird egg component or something. Emulsifier, the impetus is emulsified. But other than that, like, I don't really know the difference between all these dairy products. Now, what I do know is that I think my favorite is obviously whipped cream. Now, that would probably be because the context in which whipped cream exists in my life is like waffles and hot chocolate, which are, I mean, speaking of the holidays, just some of the best things in life, objectively, at least in my opinion. But I like cream cheese. So when I tell you that I toasted a bagel, it was a jalapeno cheddar bagel from Costco, which I have a Costco update as well, if I remember to bring it up, which 50-50 on if I remember to bring up the topics that I want to bring up. But I'm trying my best again. But I had a jalapeno cheddar bagel from Costco, which I always forget about. Like, I always think like, oh, they discontinued those. I loop it into the apple crumble muffin, which they in fact have discontinued. Unfortunately, if anyone at the Costco Corporation wants to help me out with that and revive it, I would be nothing but thrilled. But they have not gotten rid of the jalapeno cheddar bagel, thankfully. So we are continuing to buy that, and I had one and I toasted it, and I went to go get the cream cheese, and I thought, you know what? I have some dill pickle hummus. Better yet, I have some extra spicy dill pickle hummus that I'm just going to use as cream cheese. And I did it, and it was delicious. Now, the key to making this extra delicious is you have to spread it like you are in New York spreading cream cheese on a bagel. Or if you're Canadian and you know, you have to put the amount of hummus that Tim Hortons puts in quantity of cream cheese on your bagel. It's just, you have to do it, because then you get the full flavor mixed with the toastiness of the bagel. You will likely smell like garlic for the rest of the day, but is that such a bad thing? Everyone, here's the thing, and I'm not even like the most garlicky person. Like, I'm not the most like if it says add a clove, like if Rachel Ray's telling me to add a clove of garlic to something, I'm adding a clove. I'm not adding 4 cloves of garlic. Although I have nothing against people that would even add 5 cloves of garlic. Like, add as much garlic as you like. But I'm like an average, like, I like to taste garlic, but I don't want to be the garlic, you know, by the end of the day. However, once you've eaten a hummus-filled bagel with garlicky hummus, like, you're gonna smell like garlic. And that's fine, I embrace it. But that's just to say, if you're not smelling like garlic after you've made your hummus bagel, you probably didn't do it right, no offense. You needed to add more. Always add more hummus. What could really elevate this meal is if you added some, like banana peppers. I'm also really into pepperoncini these days, the spicy ones. Pickles, obviously, pickles are a staple. Any sort of like pickled. I really wanted to buy, y'all are gonna be very proud of me. I really wanted to buy pickled red peppers the other day, but they were, pickled red onion. They were literally $10 for like a pretty small pack. And it was at the regular grocery store, but it was obvious that it was coming from like a mom and pop, locally owned shop. So I almost got it in the name of supporting small businesses, but then I realized, like, I really shouldn't be spending $10 on, Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. So I think I'll be making my own pickled onion. And I just want to clarify, I don't mean the cocktail onion. I mean like a red onion. So, just so we're all on the same page. What I had for lunch the other day was a jalapeno cheddar bagel from Costco, which is not discontinued, unlike the apple crumble muffin, which is discontinued. And I spread enough hummus on it so that you smell like garlic. And if people say that this podcast is not full of important information, then I don't know what else they want me to offer. Like, I'm giving you the important updates on a Wednesday night, which people don't really do. I feel like there's a lot of news in the beginning of the week, and then like maybe Friday. It's either like a really slow news day on a Friday, I find, or like everyone's getting out the stories before the weekend. But like you need like a Wednesday pick-me-up. And that's what I am. Even though this technically comes out on Thursdays, I'm reporting live from Wednesday. Usually via beanbag chair, very often in a vehicle, and very rarely in a moving vehicle. But, we're changing it up. I hope everyone... I'm just going to keep saying this every 10 minutes. That's my favorite way to reset. I'm like, I hope everyone has had a good week. But we are coming up, and this is nuts, we are coming up on the end of the year. Now, with the end of the year, at least where I live, means winter is coming. And for some reason, over the past week, it has decided that fall is over. Now, that does make me sad, because we know... Am I screaming? I'm trying to, I'm just going to listen to this and make sure that there's, actual, tangible audio that's coming out. Okay, cool. I did a quick check, and, was the audio perfect? No. Is it ever perfect? No, I'm usually in a basement. So really, it's all evening out. And I don't think I'm screaming too loud, although, again, I'm one of those people where, I'll be in a conversation with somebody, and the more kind of excited or into whatever we're talking about I get, the louder I get. Do not play Heads Up with me. That game or the headband game where there's guessing involved, I can't handle it. I start screaming. Not angry, just screaming. So, just for the record, if you ever see me in public and you offer to play Heads Up, I'm going to say no, but don't take it personally. It's just because I don't know how to act. There was one time I was in a lineup for a jazz performance of some sort on a trip to New Orleans, and to waste the time, or pass the time rather, we played Heads Up, and let me tell you, I was louder than any of those saxophones knew what to do with, because I was just screaming. And it's always you're screaming something stupid. It's llama, or whatever, however that game works. I don't know. I just saw a sign that the KFC festive chicken sandwich is back. That's so exciting. Actually, this is a great way to get material. Just drive around and look at all the signs, because I usually do, for anyone, if there's any new listeners, which I can't imagine why there would be, but if there are, I normally do a segment, it's really an unofficial segment, really, of fast food news or updates. It's really the closest we get to current events here on the Nobody Asked for This podcast. And I guess just driving around looking at billboards of all the new fast food items is really going to grant me the material that I need to carry me through the next 20 minutes of this here episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. But what I was saying before we get to that, and the festive chicken sandwich, although it all ties in, it is officially winter. And by officially winter, I mean, I think it's officially fall for another month or so. But that's, in my opinion, usually when the next season starts. End of August, at least where I am, end of August, beginning of September, it starts getting a bit colder. So that's the start of fall. And then it usually starts getting warmer, beginning of March. So that's the start of spring, even though it technically is another 3 months or 3 weeks. If I've said it once, I've said it a billion times. Why the seasons don't start on the 1st of the month, but decide to start on the 21st, will make no sense to me. In my head, it goes like this: December, January, February, winter. March, April, May, spring. June, July, August, summer. September, October, November, fall. What is the problem with that? Why does it have to start? Why are we starting winter 4 days before Christmas? That is too late. It is just too late. I don't make the rules. I just try to make the rules and then complain, but then I'm kind of open about me not making the rules. And I'm sure I've gone into more depth in another episode about this theory for the weather and why the seasons start on the wrong days, but it's just so confusing to me. It really could all be so simple, but they'd rather make it hard. regardless, I just hit one of those. Do you know when you're on a road where it's like a bit of a higher speed, and then it'll tell you like, oh hey, there's a light here. Like if there's a light in the middle of a road that's a certain speed, like it'll tell you with that sign like, get ready to brake, because like you just need a little bit of extra time than the yellow light permits. And I am the king of the yellow light. I don't know if it's I'm going like a little bit too under the speed limit or a little bit too over the speed limit. I don't know how to interpret it, but I will get a yellow light 8 times out of 10. And then I would say I'm 50-50 on whether or not I'm stopping or, you know, pretending like I'm in the point of no return or whatever that is called, the line of there's no going back or whatever they call it in the driving textbook. But I have had multiple driving instructors, and by multiple I mean 2. My driving instructor and then my instructor for like the person who did my road test be like, wow, you get a lot of yellow lights. And they're like a driving expert. Actually, can we talk about that? I don't know who would wake up one day and say, you know what I think should be my career? I think I should teach teenagers to drive. There's a reason parents outsource that. Now, I am not a parent, although I do have the bedtime of a grandparent, but I have yet to be a parent. But I feel like, yeah, like I'll teach my, like, no, I would teach my kid how to drive, but like I wouldn't enjoy it. I think that's one of the things that like we all could be a little bit more understanding of. Like, as hard as it was to learn how to drive, I can only imagine how annoying and downright creepy it is to teach someone to drive. Like, it's not a good look for anybody, and just not a delightful experience. So there's a reason people outsource it, but I can't imagine someone wanting to do that as their job. Like, that just sounds like torture. I don't know, but I mean, someone's got to do it. It's one of those things where it's like, well, thank goodness someone thought that was a good idea to do, because if not, you know, what do the rest of us do? Okay, I have to be honest about something. I stopped for a coffee this morning, which I don't normally do. I've been trying to be better at just spending less money, especially on stuff that I could get at, you know, quote unquote home, or quote unquote make myself, you know. But I decided, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself. And because I don't know boundaries and I'm all or nothing, which I don't know if that comes across on this podcast, but I'll be fully honest, I'm very all or nothing. I couldn't decide between if I wanted a hot coffee, if I wanted a cold coffee, and then if I wanted either of those to be caffeine based or decaf. So what I did, because I'm nuts, is I got 3 shots of espresso, hot, decaf, and then 1 medium iced coffee with caffeine. And I don't know why I feel the need to be open about that, but I just feel like of the things I've done this week, like if the point of this podcast is for me to share highlights and lowlights, I feel like that's in there somewhere. Like, I think that's a first. I don't know that I've ever stopped at a coffee shop, drive-through, and gotten 2 things for myself to have in that moment that wasn't like a coffee and a muffin, or like coffee and food, or like some type of a loaf. I love a loaf, you know, because it feels more like breakfast, but it's not like you're ordering up a straight up cookie. Although I fully support ordering up a straight up cookie. I think that like breakfast of champions. I also love, I am a Dunkaroo. Like, if I'm having a donut, I need a cup of coffee. And if it's a very sweet donut, like the sweeter the baked good, the darker roast coffee I would prefer. Like, I like again, all or nothing. I'm telling you, it's real. I'm not just trying to make it like a personality trait. Like, it is fact. I really feel like I'm screaming. I feel like I'm losing my voice trying to compete with the motor of my car. But regardless, is anyone else feeling particularly dry this November, I feel like my lips are like constantly chapped. I don't know if it's just where I am, or like if the Arctic airflow is coming. Also, I've noticed, not to talk about the weather and to really just like bounce around here, like this is just going to be one of those episodes, okay? It's either going to work or it's not. I feel like I've started about 17 topics and have finished none of them. But in my mind, I'm like, listen, I don't plan for this, obviously. I don't prepare for this. So like, what naturally comes out is what was supposed to come out, you know? And I think as long as my heart's in the right place, we will be fine. You know, this is all in good fun. All of that to say, I have considered using hand moisturizer, which is not something I normally do. I have very bad, like, dry skin to the point where I've just accepted it, and I just know that, like, that's sort of my lot in life. But I've gotten to a point this year where my hands are so dry, my lips are so dry, I'm like, man, I should do something about this. My throat is, I sound like the frog in Shrek. Which apparently, again, I know we don't talk about current events, but apparently Shrek 5 is like on its way. And if that's not exciting to you, we have nothing to speak about. Like, that is so exciting. The fact that in the near-ish future, I think it's still like 2026. I don't know why it takes so long for movies to come out when, like, I watch Big Brother, and Big Brother does like 3 episodes a week, and some of them are live. Like, why does Shrek take years and years and years? Like, it's been legit 15 years. I was in elementary school when the last Shrek came out, and they've only now just announced the next one, and it's still not coming out for like another 2 years. Like, what's taking so long? Like, I get, okay, yeah, you want to do a good job. How can it be bad? If it's from the makers of the first 4, like, you're good. I trust you. Just throw something together. I'm also not one of those people that thinks like, oh, you know, you can't do another one because it'll ruin it. Ruin what? If it's bad, I'll just pretend it never happened. Again, all or nothing. I will either love the new Shrek or hate the new Shrek. And if I hate the new Shrek, I'll just pretend it doesn't exist. Out of sight, out of mind. I really think we need to do that, but I actually, now that I think about it, okay, backtracking. I don't think we need anyone further promoting the idea of a reboot or a sequel. I think we're good. I think we need to start investing in creative ideas, in new ideas. Like I don't need to see, you know, something 7. Like, let's do 1. Let's try 1. The exception, of course, being Shrek 5 or Shrek 6. How many Shreks have we done? I very much feel a part of the process. But regardless, I feel like we gotta start coming up with some new ideas. And I don't know that I'm the guy to do it, but I actually think I might be. Not to brag, like, you know, like, okay, I would say I'm a creative person, but do I just say I am a creative person because I'm not like a scientific person? I don't know. Like, is it a comparison thing? Like, I don't know if it's like, oh, I'm so not good at math that it makes, you know, it made me feel like I was a good student in English, but like I actually wasn't good at either. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's a compare and contrasting thing, but regardless, I think we need new ideas, but I think we should start that campaign after Shrek 6. Is it Shrek 6 or 7? Let me Google. Also, just to confirm, I am safely parked in a destination. We're all good. Okay, this is the confusing part for me, because it's Shrek 5, but it's coming out July 1st, 2026. That's nuts. Sometimes I hear the dates of movies and it's like, why did you have to tell me this now? Tell me June 15th of 2026. Like, there's no reason that I have to get involved in the promotion of Shrek 5 2 years before it even happened, because we're talking about it on this episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast, but I'm pretty sure they announced this like in the spring. Like, we didn't need to know. Like, tell us when it's happening. Tell me, like, oh, in 2 weeks from now, Shrek 7, it's coming. Or Shrek 6 or whatever it is. Shrek 5. Okay, maybe give me like 2 months, because I'm a slow movie watcher and I really want the time to go back and like watch all the films properly. So like maybe give me a couple weeks to watch Shreks 1 through 4 to get caught up, to remember what happened. I feel like, spoiler alert, in the last Shrek, I would never say it was bad, but it was like it was the plot that I was most confused by, which was funny because it would be the plot that I was the oldest when it came out. So you would think I would have a bit more of an understanding of what was happening, when in fact, I believe that I had less. I think he turned into a human, and I think there was that evil guy, the Rumple guy, and then there was something, and like he was a father. I can't remember. Listen, they can't all be good. Again, Shrek 1 through 3, classics. Shrek 2 did the rare thing. Okay, I feel like because the car's off now, the screaming is being emphasized, but I can't be screaming for the first 20 minutes of the episode and then whispering for the next 10 like I'm doing ASMR. So we're just going to go with it, okay? I'm really trying my best, okay? Okay. I feel understood. But I can't remember. I don't think I like Shrek 4 as much. What do the tomato people say about Shrek? Let's see. Because I almost never agree with them, so I'm sure they loved Shrek 4. Okay, Shrek 1, 88%. Why it's not 100? The only way that they could rectify this wrong is if Shrek 2 is higher. Okay, Shrek 2, 89%. Shrek 3, it's definitely going to be lower. 58? I loved Shrek 3. Oh, plot twist. This is Shrek. So Shrek 4 got 58. That might be fair. Shrek the Third, I'm going to say, is somewhere in the 70s. 41%. That is rude. That is an attack. It was good, Shrek 3. I have the DVD of Shrek 3. How could they do this to us? How did Shrek 4 get better than Shrek 3? And you know what else is good about Shrek? They never went beyond the 90-minute mark. Bring back the 90-minute movie. It was the perfect formula. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who decided that movies are 90 minutes, but they did it perfectly. And then they wrecked it. And they started doing 3 hours and 5 minutes. Like, I remember when The Hunger Games came out. This is probably like 2012. It was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And that was like crazy. That was like part of the promotion was like, you're really getting your money's worth. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. Now we're lucky if a trailer is 2 hours and 10 minutes, because they make them so long and pack all of the, like, you don't have to watch movies anymore. You just watch the trailer and they've shown you the whole thing. Like, I saw the trailer for the new Lindsay Lohan Netflix Christmas movie that's coming out in a couple weeks. I saw the movie. I don't have to see it anymore. I will be watching it, of course, duh. But, like, I saw it. I know what happens. Now, it is one of those Christmas movies where it's, like, the same thing over and over. So, like, I would know what was happening regardless. But you know what I mean. This should be this episode, because I've jumped around so much, could really be the impetus for a lot of change in specifically the entertainment field. I feel like I've put out a lot of good ideas, and I hope the right people find it. And I hope I spelled impetus right in the episode title. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you for bearing with me on this episode. I'm feeling better. I felt quite tired when I clicked record, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I stuck to it. We'll be getting this up on time. I was a bit worried there for a second, but we turned it around. I'm the king of yellow lights and the king of procrastination. And yeah, if you like what you heard, which, listen, on this episode 50-50, you can go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com, I believe is the website. And on there you can see our links to our Spotify, our Apple Podcasts, all of that stuff. Yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you have a great week. And I apologize if I didn't finish any thoughts, but just kept starting new ones. Hopefully, maybe you can fill in some of those blanks for me. And yeah, have a great week. Thank you for listening. Bye.